Aloha! Welcome to Hawaii Preppers Network 808. Now, yesterday I gave you a brief and short history regarding the islands of Hawaii and all of the 8 islands, but I did forget to put in one of the other 8 islands, which is Kauai. Kauai is considered the Garden Isle. Now, the Polynesian inhabitants settled on the island hundreds of years before Europeans arrived, as shown by excavations dating to as early as 200 AD to 600 AD. These first inhabitants, originally from the Marquesas Islands, lived undisturbed for around 5 centuries until a second wave of seafarers arrived by sea canoe from Tahiti. Many Hawaiian traditions and belief structures are rooted in the religion and practices that arrived with these Tahitians. In 1778, Captain James Cook arrived at Waimea Bay, the first European known to have reached the Hawaiian Islands. He named the archipelago the Sandwich Isles after his patron, the 6th Earl of Sandwich, George Montagu. During the reign of King Kamehameha, Kauai and Niihau were the last Hawaiian islands to join his kingdom of Hawaii. Their ruler, Kauai, resisted Kamehameha for years. Kamehameha twice prepared a huge armada of ships and canoes to take the islands by force, and twice failed, once because of a storm and once because of an endemic. But in the face of the threat of a further invasion, Kauai decided to join the kingdom without bloodshed and became Kamehameha's vassal in 1810. He ceded the island to the Kingdom of Hawaii upon his death in 1824. Schaefer Affair. In 1815, a ship from the Russian-American Company was wrecked on the island. In 1816, Kauai signed an agreement to allow the Russians to build Fort Elizabeth in an attempt to gain support from the Russians against Kamehameha I. Construction began during 1817, but in July of that year, under mounting resistance of native Hawaiians and American traders, the Russians were expelled. The settlement on Kauai was an instance of a Pacific outpost of the Russian Empire. Now, there's more to this story. The Schaefer Affair was a controversial diplomatic incident caused by George Anton Schaefer, a German who attempted to seize the Kingdom of Hawaii for the Russian Empire. While on a trading expedition to the kingdom, the Russian-American Company RAC vessel Bering ran aground during a storm at Waimea on Kauai in January 1815. The chieftain of the island, Kauai, seized the company goods on board. Schaefer was sent later that year from Russian America to recover the lost property, where he would spend the following 2 years courting native allies to overthrow King Kamehameha I. A simple mission led by an inexperienced but ambitious physician unfolded into a major blunder for the company. Kauai, who sought outside help in his domestic rivalry with King Kamehameha, invited Schaefer to his island and manipulated him into believing that the RAC could easily take over and colonize Hawaii. Schaefer soon planned a full-blown naval assault on the Hawaiian Islands. His actions were not sanctioned by RAC Governor Alexander Andreevich Baranov, who gave no instructions beyond either regaining the lost company items or compensation for them in sandalwood. Mounting resistance of native Hawaiians and American traders forced Schaefer to admit defeat and leave Hawaii in July 1817, before his triumphant reports from Kauai reached the Russian court. The company recognized a loss of no less than 200,000 rubles, but continued entertaining the Hawaiian project until 1821. The company then sued Schaefer for damages, but after an inconclusive legal standoff, found it easier to let him go back to Germany. The Old Sugar Mill of Koloa. In 1835, Old Koloa town opened a sugar mill. From 1906 to 1934, the office of county clerk was held by John Mahiai Kaneakua, who had been active in attempts to restore Queen Liliuokalani to the throne after U.S. takeover of Hawaii in 1893. Now, Queen Liliuokalani was imprisoned in her own palace, in the Iolani Palace, by the U.S. government. Valdemar Knudsen. Valdemar Emil Knudsen was a Norwegian plantation pioneer who arrived on Kauai in 1857. Knudsen, or Kanuka, originally arrived in Koloa, where he managed Grove Farm, but later sought a warmer land and purchased the leases to Mana and Kekaha, where he became a successful sugar plantation owner. He settled in Waiawa, between Mana and Kekaha, immediately across the channel from Niihau Island. His son Eric Alfred Knudsen was born in Waiawa. Knudsen was appointed land administrator by King Kamehameha for an area covering 400 kilometers and was given the title Konohiki, as well as a position as a nobility under the king. Knudsen, who spoke fluent Hawaiian, later became an elected representative and an influential politician on the island. Knudsen lends his name to the Knudsen Gap, a narrow pass between Haupu Ridge and the Kahili Ridge. Kahili Ridge. Its primary function was as a sugar farm planted by the Knudsen family. Now, the island of Kauai has very rich spiritual history there, and I'd like to go over some of this rich history because this history includes a Hindu monastery there. And so let's go over this. Kauai's Hindu monastery. Kauai Adinam, also known as Kauai's Hindu monastery, is a traditional South Indian style monastery temple complex on the tropical garden isle of Kauai. The head of the monastery, called the Guru, is Satguru Bodhinatha Velan Swami. Sadguru Velan Swami is the predecessor of Satguru Sivaya Subramaniya Swami. Oh, tongue twisters here. Subramaniya Swami. Now, Satguru Sivaya Subramaniya Swami was an American religious Hindu leader known as Guru Deva by his followers. He was the 162nd head of the non-Dinatha Sampradayas, Kailasa, Parampara, and Guru at Kauai's Hindu monastery, which is a 382 acres the temple sits on. It's a temple monastery complex on Kauai. So in the 70s, he established a Hindu monastery in Kauai and founded the magazine Hinduism Today. He was one of Shaivism's gurus, the founder and leader of the Saiva Siddhanta Church. He is part of the Guru lineage of the Sri Lankan Alaveri Hindus. He oversaw more than 50 temples worldwide. So Sadguru Sivaya Subramaniya Swami, 162 was born 1927 and passed in 2001. He founded the Saiva Siddhanta Church in 1949 and established this powerful spiritual sanctuary in 1970. It is the home of Bodhinath and his order of swamis, yogis, sadhakas from different nations. The monastery is the headquarters and theological seminary of Saiva Siddhanta Church. It is also home to the Himalayan Academy. Two traditional Saivite Hindu temples are located on the monastery's 382 acres. Kadavo Temple and the Sanmarga Iraivan Temple, a rare all-granite Chola-style temple currently being carved in Bangalore, India, and assembled on Kauai. Now, I believe that the granite that was carved has already been done already, and because this is from years ago. The core of the monastery is the renowned Kadavo Temple, in which Lord Siva Nataraja is enshrined. Now, there's much history regarding that Hindu monastery on Kauai, and Satguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. There's a lot of history, and that particular guru also wrote about 30 books, and I actually have one of his books. It's entitled Lemurian Scrolls, and it's a very sacred book, and that he has come out with, that he has written about, and all the information within that book is a very powerful spiritual sacred book. Now I will relate to you some information regarding Maui, and the information is coming from individuals that actually live there and are there, and I'm getting this information live on the daily, and I speak to these people as well live, and I'm getting updates from them personally, wherever they may be situated and located on the island of Maui. Now, one of these individuals have mentioned that many is in need now of psychiatric help for shock and depression. And this person also mentioned that the depression is really heavy in one of the shelters, and I'm thinking it's heavy all over that island. They have also set up tents where they have games, hula, ukulele lessons, and play music. Local artists playing music, singing, and praying as well. Just coming together as a ohana, as a family, and supporting one another and strengthening one another. They also have a prayer tent where people can come to pray, to talk, to cry, to release everything. They have a prayer area where people come together and pray when they want, when they need to. The local entertainers have come by to sing and help them heal. They mentioned that they're doing it outside of the high school because Fema won't let them come inside the gym, and they have to follow rules of the government. The individual also spoke to one of their cousins who are volunteering at one of the high schools there, and the cousin is working in the tent outside of this high school, and she said that FEMA doesn't take care of the people outside of the school, those sleeping in tents, cars, etc. The community is actually feeding them and giving them supplies, not FEMA. They have to be sheltered inside the school in order to get help from FEMA. That particular high school gym is full of people sleeping all over the place, including on bleachers. This individual said that they only identified 99 people so far, and that they have found 700 bodies. They have been leaving the bodies where they are found. They don't want rains, as it will wash away the human ashes. She said it is a horrific sight, and that many people are traumatized. If this is what the government has to offer the people don't need it. The community, all the local people across our entire state, every single island, we can take care of them. They don't need help that isn't help at all. I'm just saying. It is just pathetic, sad, and uncalled for. Very incompetent when it comes to help of any sort from yours truly, government. So people, let this government system be an example of how not to be and what not to do and who not to rely on. And know that you're going to have to rely on one another. You're going to have to organize, network, establish all of that amongst each other, and pull your heads together and do what needs to be done, because people are seeing how they're being treated. The news, the mainstream media, you will not hear any of this. Our government here don't want any of this information to get out to the world, but it's being sent out through different avenues in full force now. So always remember, in any disaster, natural, man-made, know right off the bat that the government will not help you. Their ideas of helping you is literally foreign. That's not how you help people. That is heartless. That is evil. And just plain outright should not happen at all to anyone, anywhere that experiences natural disasters across the United States. This is uncalled for. Uncalled for. In my humble opinion, I believe the Maui people have the right to kick these people off of their island now. People that are not a solution to the problem, but is a problem to the solution. So guys, this is about it. This is all I have for now. Have a great day. Aloha.